Hi, welcome to the February update for West Grand School District. I've got a number of things that I want to get to today. Mostly it's information, but there are also a couple of things that I would like you to be thinking about as we move forward into the month of March. Where I'd like to begin will be focused on calendar committee. You should have seen yesterday an email that would have come from me that was asking you to give your feedback to the calendar committee on a couple of calendars. So what we've done, and this is the first time I think for West Grand to do this, but we've decided that we want to try and do a 2-year calendar. This is first and foremost, it's going to keep us from having to do the process every single year. And I think it's going to also give us an opportunity to be a little bit more thoughtful around planning our breaks, our summertime activities that we do as individuals, those types of things. I think it'll give us an opportunity to be a little bit more mindful. So what you should have seen yesterday in the email was a link that gave you 2 calendar options for the 2019-2020 school year, and then also 2 options for 2020-2021. So we're not asking for a vote right now. We're just simply asking for what your preference is, because the calendar committee is going to come back together next week and they're going to have an opportunity to look at all of the feedback. I sent a similar thing out to the community on Thursday in the newspaper. You should see an article from me that's just a real simple article, but what it's doing is it's giving the community that link also. We want to get as much feedback as we can, because one thing we know when it comes to building a calendar, we can't make everybody happy, but we at least want to make sure that everybody's voice has been represented and that we're being real mindful of all of the different feedback that people are looking for. We know that ideally people want more breaks built into the school year, but you also want to start as late as possible and end as early as possible. And the reality is there still has to be 148 student-teacher contact days and 166 total contract days. So no matter how we slice it, we still have to get those in. So if you haven't already given your feedback, and I just checked a little bit ago, it looked like there were 20 people who'd already given feedback, please make sure you get that feedback in there. If there's something that you're thinking about, don't just assume somebody else will put that feedback in there. We want to make sure we hear from you. So please get us that feedback. In the email, I included everybody who is on the calendar committee. So if you want to ask questions, by all means, visit with them. And of course, you can just reach out to me, catch me when I'm in the hall or something. I'm happy to visit with you about everything there is to do with building a school district calendar. So again, like I said, the calendar committee will meet next week. They'll go through some final pieces, and then ultimately they'll send that back out, which probably means I will send it back out to you as a faculty for your vote. Now, your vote, when that actually happens, which will probably be the first week of March, what's going to take place there is you're going to have an option A, option B for the first year, option A, option B for the second year. And however that vote plays out, if 70% choose calendar whatever, then that's the calendar I'm going to recommend to the board. I'm not going to look at the recommendation and say, oh no, sorry, I'm going to still recommend to the board we go with this one. I'm going to support whatever the faculty wants. I tell the calendar committee, I'm a 12-month employee, I'm always here. So it doesn't matter to me. But what does matter to me is that we build calendars that are going to work for our students, help ensure student success, and really be supportive of our faculty. So again, please get that feedback in there. Next thing, and this is one of those things that I want you to be thinking about as we head into March. It's 2 really specific things I want you to be thinking about. The first is going to be our celebration of excellence. And those of you who were here last year know that in May of last year, we held an event over at the high school where we had an opportunity to kind of celebrate some of the excellent things that were happening. And it was the very first time through. We had a decent turnout, had some pretty neat things from a few different grade levels, some things from middle school, things from the high school. But this year, and I know your principals have talked to you about this, this is specific to our teaching staff, we really want to see representation from every grade level, and we really want to see some of those amazing and awesome projects that your kids have done, presentations that they've done, those types of things. I would really like to be able to highlight some of the absolute strongest ones on stage that evening, give them an opportunity to give their presentations. And then I'd also like to be able to do some recognition district-wide, which ties into the second one. The night of the Celebration of Excellence is when I would like to announce who our new District Teacher of the Year is. As I believe all of you know, last year Nellie Thompson was the District Teacher of the Year. We will follow a very similar process when it comes to nominations. We'll get something out probably in March for people to start submitting their nominations for District Teacher of the Year. And then our committee will get together and we'll go through all of those nominations and ultimately make a selection on who that Teacher of the Year is for next school year. So, but I would like to make that announcement the same evening as the Celebration of Excellence. The date has not yet been set. My intent is to take that to the board meeting in March so that we can get that on the calendar and kind of make a formal proclamation of that being the night that we'll celebrate excellence. Let's see. Let's jump into the trivia. Let's go ahead and do that now. So first, last week's trivia, excuse me, last month's trivia had a Super Bowl flavor to it, and the question was, what are the teams that have the second most Super Bowl appearances? There were a ton of you who came in with the correct answers. The correct answer, by the way, there are 3 teams who all have 8 Super Bowl appearances, and that's the Broncos, the Cowboys, and the Steelers. But Austin Gregory was the one who had the first correct answer. Just beat somebody in by just a minute or two. So we'll have a prize for Austin on that. So here's this time's trivia question. And this one is kind of a geography question and maybe a little bit of a history question. So I would imagine you're all familiar with the Louisiana Purchase that took place in 1818. The United States purchased land from France. But that's not the question. The question is, which 3 western states, so states in the western part of the United States, were part of that purchase? There were 3. Name all 3 states that were part of the Louisiana Purchase in 1818. Okay, so look forward to hearing your answers on that. Let's see, I want to both say thank you to and then also invite a couple of presentations for an upcoming board meeting. Both of our 5th grade teachers, Karen Burgum and Beth Hart, thank you, along with, I know Mr. Buller, you attended as well, the Keystone Science. As always, we want to have you come and spend some time and make a presentation with the board. We're hoping that the March board meeting, March 12th, will be when we'll see that. Likewise, I want to thank all of our teachers who attended CCIRA. I know there were a whole lot of you, and I would love to see in April a group, a representative group, it doesn't have to be everybody, but a representative group come and just share with the board a little bit what it was that you learned at CCIRA, what is it that makes CCIRA such an amazing conference for all of you. I hear so many great things from you. I did last year, I did this year, of, you know, boy, I learned this, or I saw that, or hey, well, can you tell me about this resource? Can we get this resource? I think it's wonderful when you come back so fired up, especially in February, from a conference. So I'd like to see in April a presentation that could come to the board so they get an idea of just exactly what this amazing thing is that you guys get an opportunity to participate in. Let's see, I want to congratulate all of our winter sports participants, both at the middle school and at the high school. Of course, at the time of this video, both of our high school basketball teams are still alive in their district tournament. And then we had a handful of wrestlers qualify for the state wrestling tournament at the high school level. So Coach Strathman, good job there, and good luck to those boys that'll be competing this weekend down in Denver. We also, the first week of March, we will have the winter play performance up at the high school. I'm hoping to have Dan and Shannon get a few kids for me next week for the We Are West Grand talk show to talk a little bit about the play and maybe share some of their excitement about the play, and for Dan and Shannon to talk about it as well. Later today, I'll be filming the We Are West Grand talk show with some of our robotics students. Robotics just wrapped up their season, and while they didn't necessarily go as far as they would have wanted, I think they still had a very, very successful season. All three teams qualified for state, so that's really exciting. So that's some of the goings on. I wanted to just let you know that We are just now in the beginning process of the budget, so I would imagine, regardless your role, you're going to start hearing from either your department director or your building principal, your activities director, activities and athletic director, around things that you might be requesting for your budget. So that over the next month and a half is going to be pretty popular, and also going to be it's going to be pretty busy. So last thing I want to do is just give you a little bit of an update on legislative session and what's happening at the legislative session. Some of you might be really interested in this, and if you are, reach out to me. I'll be happy to sit down and have a conversation with you, let you know everything that I know about what's happening in the legislative session, and maybe you can even share some things with me that you know about what's going on. But for those of you who just need, kind of a, hey, give me a little fix, I will tell you that the all-day kindergarten legislation has not yet been introduced in a bill, but it is looking very, very strong that we're going to see that happen. Yes, we already have all-day kindergarten, but as I said, I think in the previous video, that would push how the per student dollar figure is calculated from 0.58 up to counting them as a full student. Because let's be honest, they're kindergartners and they are full students. No question about that. There's a couple of bills that I think are really worth watching that I find very interesting, and those are both related to increasing mental health supports at the school level, at the PK-12 level. It would be really great to see some dedicated money coming from the legislative body specifically to increase mental health supports for our kids. We all know that we have a lot of kids who have lived through trauma or are still dealing with trauma, surviving trauma, those types of things. And so the greater amount of support we can provide for them, the better. And then, of course, just school funding in general, of course. The school funding bill, it's looking like we'll see a decent buy down to the negative factor, and we should see about a 2.7% cost of living increase in the per student. So that's basically matching the inflation rate. So we're hopeful to see a little bit of money increase for the district. That's going to lead, of course, to probably about a month from now having our salary and benefits committee come together, and some of those other things. So it's going to be a busy couple of months. I just want to pause and thank each and every one of you for everything you do. It becomes a long grind. I know the way our calendar is set up this year with just 4 days a week all the way through since we've been on our holiday break. But I very much appreciate everything you guys are doing. And I want you to just continue to love those kids and care about those kids, and know that we love and care about you, and we want to just see you continue to do what you do. So I hope everybody has a wonderful rest of your day, a wonderful rest of the month, and I will keep you guys updated and get something out again in March. Thanks so much for watching.